Every second, Amazon sells thousands of products. Millions of people rely on it every single day. But 30 years ago, this global empire fit inside a garage, and it all started because of one strange statistic. The man behind it was not supposed to start a company. He was supposed to stay on Wall Street. But before Amazon, there was a curious kid who loved machines. Jeff Bezos was born in 1964 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. His mother was just 17 years old. His biological father was a circus performer, and soon he disappeared from Jeff's life. A few years later, Jackie married a Cuban immigrant named Miguel Bezos. Miguel adopted Jeff and gave him the name the world would one day recognize. Even as a child, Jeff was obsessed with how things worked. He spent hours building gadgets in the garage. Sometimes he even installed alarms to keep his siblings out of his room. But the most unusual thing about Jeff Bezos was not his curiosity. It was his ambition. At his high school graduation, Bezos described a future where millions of humans would live in space colonies. To most people in the audience, it sounded like science fiction. But Bezos wasn't joking. He believed humanity's future was beyond Earth. Years later, Bezos would enter Princeton University. He studied electrical engineering and computer science, two fields quietly shaping the future. After graduating near the top of his class, Bezos joined Wall Street. Eventually, he joined a hedge fund called D.E. Shaw, one of the most technologically advanced firms in finance. By the age of 30, Bezos was already a senior vice president. His career looked perfect: prestige, money, security. But one day, Bezos discovered a statistic that stopped him. Cold internet usage was growing at 2,300% per year. To most people, it was just a number. But Bezos saw something different, a revolution. And he asked a dangerous question: what kind of business could exist only on the internet? Bezos began listing every possible internet business he could imagine, one idea after another: music stores, software downloads, clothing, electronics. But one category stood out immediately: books. Books had millions of titles, far more than any physical bookstore could hold, but an online store could carry them all. There was just one problem. Bezos already had the perfect job. Leaving it meant risking everything. So Bezos asked himself a strange question: what would 80-year-old Jeff regret more, trying or never trying at all? The answer was obvious. He would regret missing the internet revolution. So in 1994, Jeff Bezos quit his job. Bezos and his wife Mackenzie packed their belongings into a car and began driving across the country, from New York to Seattle. During the trip, Mackenzie drove. Bezos sat in the passenger seat, writing the business plan for a company that did not exist yet. At first, Bezos considered naming the company Cadabra, but his lawyer misheard it as Cadaver. So Bezos searched for a better name, something big. Eventually, he chose Amazon, named after the largest river in the world, because Bezos wanted to build the largest store on Earth. And in 1995, Amazon officially launched inside a small garage in Seattle. At first, almost nobody visited the website. Then the first order arrived, then another. Soon, orders were arriving from across the United States. And then something even stranger happened. Orders started arriving from other countries. Inside the office, Bezos installed a small bell. Every time someone bought a book, the bell rang. At first, the bell rang only a few times per day, but soon, it started ringing constantly. Eventually, the team had to remove the bell, because it simply never stopped ringing. Amazon was growing faster than anyone expected, and Wall Street began paying attention. In 1997, Amazon went public. But there was one problem. Amazon still wasn't profitable, and many analysts believed it never would be. Then the year 2000 arrived, and the internet bubble burst. Technology companies collapsed overnight. Investors panicked. Amazon's stock price crashed from more than $100 to just $6. Critics predicted Amazon would go bankrupt. Inside Amazon, the future suddenly looked very uncertain. Inside Amazon, the crisis forced a painful reset. Layoffs began, projects were canceled, but Bezos refused to panic. Instead, Amazon started rebuilding itself. The company invested heavily in logistics. Huge fulfillment centers appeared across the country. Inside these buildings, software tracked millions of products. Amazon was no longer just a website. It was becoming a logistics machine. Then, in 2005, Amazon introduced something risky. Amazon Prime offered unlimited 2-day shipping for a yearly subscription. Critics believed the idea would lose money. Instead, customers began buying more, much more. Prime didn't just attract customers, it created loyalty. Around the same time, Amazon quietly built something even bigger: Amazon Web Services. Soon, startups, corporations, and governments relied on Amazon servers. A huge portion of the internet now runs on Amazon. By the 2010s, Amazon had expanded into almost every industry: streaming, smart homes, groceries, cloud computing. But with massive power came massive criticism. In 2020, Bezos appeared before the United States Congress. The empire he built was now under scrutiny. In 2021, after 27 years, Jeff Bezos stepped down as CEO. But the dream he talked about in high school never disappeared: space. Through his company Blue Origin, Bezos is building rockets designed for humanity's future beyond Earth. Because for Jeff Bezos, Amazon was never the final destination. It was the launchpad.